The Bleacher Report app is your destination for sports. Right now, the NBA's heating up, March Madness is here, and MLB is almost back. Every day there's a new headline, a new highlight, a new moment you've got to see for yourself. That's why I stay locked in with the Bleacher Report app. For me, it's about staying connected to my sports. I can follow the teams I care about, get real-time scores, breaking news, and highlights all in one place. Download the Bleacher Report app today so you never miss a moment.
Hello, I'm Sarah.
And I'm Toby.
And welcome to the Whispering Woods podcast. This episode is all about
The Umbrella Man.
Yeah, this is great. Back to the old style sort of creepy creatures. Because we've covered a lot of them, so I really had to hunt for something a little bit different, and I came across this. But first of all, if you'd like to support the podcast, you can do so by visiting patreon.com/The Whispering Woods, where we have a number of tiers and you can listen ad-free for a small monthly fee. And we are also on Apple Premium, where for $4.99 you can listen ad-free to all episodes. You can also come and join us on social media and our Facebook group for creepy stuff going on. I know I'm a bit rubbish at the moment, but we've still got a lot going on at home, and hopefully that will quieten down at some point. Or I'll end up in a mental hospital.
Yeah.
And you can come with me, Tobe.
Yeah.
Right, I'll get straight into it. Are you ready? Oh, the story.
Yes, I am.
A wet afternoon. Not raining, but the ground is damp, the air is heavy, as though rain has only just passed through. A dog stops, not hesitating and not uncertain. It stops dead in the middle of the pavement and fixes on something ahead. Its body stiffens, ears forward, low and tense. The kind of reaction owners recognise instantly when something isn't right. About 50 metres down the street, there is a man. He stands alone, 6 feet tall or close to it. Dark trousers, a white shirt, and on his head, a black hat. In his hand, an open umbrella. The detail doesn't make sense. There is no rain, not now, not for hours. And yet the umbrella is raised above him, steady and deliberate, as if shielding him from something no one else can feel. The witness keeps walking. There is nowhere obvious for the man to go. There's no open gate, no turning, just a stretch of road bordered by fences and houses facing away. The dog won't move forward. It watches him. And then, just for a moment, the witness looks away. It was only a second, but when they look back, the man is gone. He's not walking away or turning around a corner. He's gone completely. And just as suddenly as it began, the dog relaxes. The tension leaves its body as if something has been lifted, as though whatever it has seen is no longer there. This kind of account appears again and again. Different places and different witnesses, but the same details, repeated with unsettling consistency. A figure, almost always alone. A man, most often described in dark clothing, sometimes wearing a hat. And always an umbrella. Not carried casually or folded. It's open, even when it shouldn't be. Across online forums and personal accounts, the pattern holds. The umbrella man does not behave like a typical ghost. He does not speak. He does not chase. He does not interact in any obvious way. He stands, he watches, and then he leaves, often in ways that feel wrong. Too fast, too clean, or simply impossible. In some accounts he appears indoors, standing at the edge of a room, at the bottom of a staircase, partially obscured by door frames or banisters. Witnesses describe the same reaction. Not confusion, but fear. Immediate and physical. The kind that locks the body in place. One account describes the figure remaining completely still, except for the umbrella. A slow, subtle movement, as though it were rising and falling in the hand, or keeping time with something unseen. The witness does not approach. They cannot. They remain where they are, watching him, as he watches them. And then, without warning, he moves. Not quickly, not aggressively. He simply turns and glides away, out of sight. In a small number of cases, the encounters repeat, the same figure and position, appearing over multiple nights, or returning to the same location again and again, until something changes. In one account, the visits stop only after a house blessing. No explanation is offered, only that the figure does not return. There is another detail that surfaces often, not always, but enough to be noticeable. The umbrella man is sometimes linked to something else. A tall shape, a dark silhouette. One described wearing a hat. It's the Hat Man. In some reports, the two seem to overlap. The same presence, but with an added detail. An umbrella. As though one version of the figure has begun to change, or has been seen more clearly. What makes the umbrella man unusual is not what he does, it's what he doesn't do. There is no clear purpose, no message or escalation. He appears, he's noticed, and then he's gone, leaving behind only a single question. Why the umbrella? Most reported sightings don't happen in places people expect. Not abandoned buildings or old castles. Not anywhere already known as haunted. They happen in ordinary spaces. Roads, parks, footpaths. Places people pass through without thinking. One account describes a woman driving home late at night. A storm has just passed through. Rain still clung to the road, reflecting the glow of headlights. But the worst of it had already moved on. The street ahead was empty. Until a flash of lightning lit the road. In that brief white glare, there was a man standing directly in the centre of it. Not at the side, not moving out of the way. Standing still. He held an umbrella above his head, open and steady. The driver braked hard. The car slowed to a stop a short distance from him. He didn't react, didn't step back and turn. He remained exactly where he was. The driver leaned forward slightly, trying to see his face. At that moment, the umbrella shifted. Not lowered, not dropped, just tilted. Enough to obscure him completely. The car approached behind her, headlights filling the rearview mirror. For a second, her attention broke. She turned, raising a hand slightly to signal. And when she looked back, the man was gone. The road ahead was empty. No movement, no retreating figure. No sound of footsteps on wet tarmac. Just the reflection of streetlights on rainwater. And nothing standing in the middle of it. Another account places the figure somewhere quieter, a public park. early morning. Not quite light, but no longer fully dark. The kind of hour where the world feels paused. The witness was walking along a path that cut through the park. There was no rain, no wind, just a thin layer of fog sitting low to the ground. As they passed one of the benches, they heard something, faint and soft. The sound of rain. Not falling around them though, but concentrated, localised. They turned their head and saw a man sat on the bench, umbrella open above them. The fabric stretched tight, as if it were catching rainfall, but there was nothing there. No droplets, no movement in the air, only the sound, a quiet, steady patter against something that shouldn't have been there. The man didn't look at them, didn't acknowledge their presence. He simply sat, holding the umbrella above himself, as if existing in a different set of conditions. The witness kept walking, faster now. The sound faded behind them. After several seconds, curiosity pulled them to look back. The bench was empty. The umbrella gone. But the fog behind them had shifted, and not in a natural way. It wasn't drifting, it was disturbed, as though something tall had just moved through it, away from the path. In more isolated locations, the accounts become quieter, less detailed, but no less consistent. One hiker described packing up near the edge of a forest at sunset. The light was low, the kind that flattens everything into shadow. At the tree line, just beyond where the path disappeared into woodland, there was a figure, standing still, facing outward. An umbrella rested over one shoulder, closed this time, but held in a way that felt deliberate. The hiker raised a torch. The beam reached out across the clearing and stopped. Not abruptly, but as though it had been absorbed. The light faded before it touched the figure, leaving the man standing just beyond it, visible but not illuminated. The hiker blinked, and in that moment, the distance had changed. The figure was closer. Not by much, a few steps. But enough to be noticed, enough to feel wrong. The hiker didn't wait, they left quickly, following the path back toward the car park. Only once they reached it did they turn back. At the edge of the trail, just where the trees began, the man stood again, still, unmoving, and watching. Across these accounts, the pattern remains the same. The umbrella man does not pursue. He does not rush at you. He does not close the distance in any obvious way. But he is always positioned, just far enough, just outside of reach. Just beyond where details become clear. There are no confirmed cases of anyone approaching him directly, no accounts that describe a conversation, and no clear descriptions of his face. Only the distance, obstruction, and the constant presence of the umbrella. And sometimes, it isn't what people see that stays with them, it's what they hear. Not every encounter begins with a sighting. In some accounts, the first indication that something is there is sound. Subtle at first and easy to dismiss, until it isn't. The most commonly reported is simple, repetitive, measured. A steady rhythm against hard ground. Tap, tap, tap. The sound of something narrow striking pavement, metal against stone, unhurried. Witnesses often describe hearing it before they see anything at all. Footsteps may be absent, movement unclear, but the tapping continues, consistent and even, as though something is walking just out of view. In some cases, the sound stops the moment the figure disappears, ending as abruptly as it began. In others, it doesn't. The figure is gone, but the tapping continues. A few more steps. A few more strikes against the ground before fading into silence, as though whatever made the sound was never fully tied to what was seen. There are also reports of a different sound, quieter, closer. Fabric shifting, a soft, dry movement, like material being stretched open. Witnesses describe it as the unmistakable sound of an umbrella opening, but heard in the wrong place, behind them, inside a room, or just out of sight around a corner. There is no accompanying movement, no rush of air, just the sound itself. Slow, controlled, followed by stillness. A small number of accounts mention something else, less consistent, harder to describe. A voice, or something close to it. Not loud or clear, more like a fragment carried on the edge of your hearing. A whisper, often reported during storms, or in moments where the air feels charged, as though something is about to change. Witnesses struggle to recall what was said, if anything was said at all. Only that it felt directed at them and personal, as though the sound had been meant for them specifically. But whatever meaning it carried is lost almost immediately, leaving behind only the certainty that something was there and that it had tried to communicate. These details are not present in every account, but when they do appear, they follow the same pattern. Sound first, recognition second, and only then the realization that something is standing nearby. Unlike other reported entities, the Umbrella Man does not rely on sudden movement or visual shock. There are no loud disturbances or dramatic gestures, just small, controlled signals, a tap, a shift of fabric, a sound where no sound should be. And for many witnesses, that is what unsettles them the most. Not the figure itself, but the awareness that it may have been there long before it was seen. Across hundreds of accounts, one pattern appears again and again. The Umbrella Man does not approach in a direct or obvious way. He doesn't rush. He doesn't chase. He doesn't force interaction. Instead, he positions himself. He stands where he will be noticed. Not immediately, but inevitably. At the end of a path, across a road. Just beyond the line of sight. Far enough to feel safe. Close enough that ignoring him becomes difficult. In many reports, witnesses describe the same sequence. They see him. They register that something is wrong. And then, without fully understanding why, they consider moving closer. Not out of fear, but curiosity. A quiet, persistent pull. The thought that forms is simple. I should go and see who that is. It's not overwhelming, not urgent, just present, lingering at the edge of decision. Some describe him moving slightly ahead of them, never turning to face them directly, never making eye contact, but always staying just within view. A few steps forward, then stillness, as though allowing the distance to close, only on his terms. Others describe finding him already in their path, not blocking it, not standing directly in the way, but positioning so that passing him feels unavoidable, a narrowing of space and a quiet pressure, as though the environment has shifted to include him. And yet, there are no confirmed accounts of anyone reaching him, no clear descriptions of what happens at close distance, no conversations or interactions, only the approach and the decision not to continue. Several witnesses describe a moment, a hesitation where something changes. The curiosity fades, replaced by a sudden awareness. A realization that stepping closer would be a mistake, not based on anything visible, not triggered by movement or sound. It's just a feeling, a clear, immediate feeling. Those who turn away often describe relief, not gradual, not subtle, but immediate, as though something has been building quietly and then released. What stands out is what isn't reported. There are no detailed accounts from anyone who followed him fully. No descriptions of standing face to face. No clear outcome, only absence. And that absence has become part of the pattern. Stories circulate and encounters are shared, but they always stop at the same point, at the edge, the moment before something would happen. It's not clear whether this is coincidence or whether the encounters themselves never progress beyond that boundary. Because in every account, the Umbrella Man remains just out of reach. The most consistent detail in every account is the one that makes the least sense: the umbrella. In ordinary terms, it's a simple object. Tool, used for rain and shelter, something practical and forgettable. But in these encounters, it doesn't behave that way. It appears when it isn't needed, on dry roads, in still air, inside buildings, held open beneath clear skies, carried through heat, through fog, through spaces where weather has no presence at all. Witnesses notice this immediately, often before anything else, because the umbrella is wrong, and that wrongness spreads. It changes how the figure is perceived. What should be an ordinary person becomes something else, simply because of what they are holding. In many descriptions, the umbrella does more than just sit above him. It obscures him and shields him, not just from the weather, but from view. Faces are rarely described clearly. Features remain indistinct. Even at relatively close distances, there is always something in the way. A shadow, an angle, a tilt of the canopy, as though the umbrella is positioned deliberately to prevent recognition. In some accounts, witnesses describe trying to focus, to take in all the details, and failing. Not because of distance, but because something about the scene resists clarity. The umbrella becomes the centre of attention. It draws in the eye, holding it there, while everything else remains just out of reach. There are also accounts where the umbrella behaves slightly differently, not dramatically, but enough to be noticed, opening without movement, already raised when it shouldn't be, or shifting in ways that don't quite match the motion of the figure holding it. Small details, easy to question, difficult to dismiss. And then there is the question that comes up again and again. If there is no rain, what is it for? Some witnesses interpret it as concealment, a way of hiding the face, of maintaining distance, of preventing identification. Others describe a different feeling, that the umbrella is not protecting us from him, but protecting him from something else. Something not visible, something not described, only implied. The idea appears quietly across multiple accounts. It's never stated directly, but present. The sense that the umbrella is necessary, not for comfort or weather, but for something that exists just outside perception. And if that's the case, then the figure beneath it may not be the only presence in the scene. The Umbrella Man is difficult to trace, not because there are no accounts, but because they don't begin in one place. There is no single origin, no first sighting that everything leads back to. Instead, He appears in fragments, across different places and different times, always similar, never identical. Some of the earliest descriptions don't even call him that. They describe a figure at the end of a street, standing still during a storm, watching a house, not moving, not leaving, just present. In later accounts, the details begin to settle. The height, the clothing, the stillness, and then the umbrella. By the time the stories began circulating more widely online, the figure already feels established and recognisable. People don't need to describe him in full. They refer to him simply as the Umbrella Man. What's unusual is how consistent those descriptors are, even when the witnesses are not connected. Different countries, different environments, but the same outline: a tall figure with dark clothing, and an umbrella held open when it shouldn't be, standing just far enough away, watching. He doesn't behave like a traditional ghost. He isn't tied to a building or a specific location. He doesn't repeat the same action in the same place. Instead, he appears wherever the conditions feel right: moments of isolation and low light, shifts in weather, times when the world feels slightly out of place. Because of that, some people don't see him as a haunting, but as something that moves and travels, appearing where it is noticed, and then disappearing again. There are also connections drawn to other figures, not directly, but through similarity. The Hat Man, shadow figures, tall silhouettes, faces obscured, watching from a distance. In some accounts, the distinction disappears entirely, the same presence described, with one additional detail: an umbrella. Whether this is the same phenomenon or something separate that has taken on a familiar shape is unclear. But what is clear is that the figure has spread from isolated stories to shared accounts, from single experiences to a recognisable pattern. And yet, despite how often he is described, there are still no definitive answers, no confirmed identity, no explanation that fully accounts for every detail. Only a growing collection of encounters, each one slightly different, each one ending the same way, with the figure gone and the question left behind. There is one type of account that appears less often, but when it does, it is described carefully, sometimes briefly, sometimes not at all. These are the encounters where the Umbrella Man doesn't remain at a distance, he follows. The setting is usually ordinary: a walk home on a quiet road, a path taken many times before. The witness becomes aware of something behind them. Not immediately, it's just a shift, a feeling of being observed. Then sound, footsteps, slow, even and measured. They're not gaining, they're not falling back, they're just there. When they turn, he is behind them, at a distance, far enough to feel safe, but close enough to be certain. The umbrella is already open, held above him. It's steady and unmoving. He doesn't react to being seen. He doesn't change his pace, nor does he stop. He simply continues walking, as though the distance between them has already been decided. The witness turns forward again, continues walking. The footsteps remain. They look back a second time. He's still there, same distance, same posture. No variation. This continues street after street, step after step. Always the same space between them, never closing, never widening. Until the witness reaches somewhere safe. Their house or car, a building with light. And that's when it ends. When they turn back, he is no longer following, he has stopped. In some accounts, he simply stands where he is, at the edge of the light, at the boundary, watching. In others, he turns slowly and walks away, back into darkness, back into distance, back into wherever he came from. There is one detail that appears in almost every version of these encounters. The witnesses never see his face, not clearly or directly. And many describe the same thought unprompted. If they had tried, if they had fully turned around, if they had waited, if they had stepped closer, they would not have made it home.
The Bleacher Report app is your destination for sports. Right now, the NBA's heating up, March Madness is here, and MLB is almost back. Every day there's a new headline, a new highlight, a new moment you've got to see for yourself. That's why I stay locked in with the Bleacher Report app. For me, it's about staying connected to my sports. I can follow the teams I care about, get real-time scores, breaking news, and highlights all in one place. Download the Bleacher Report app today so you never miss a moment.
You don't change the game without asking big questions like, what would you like the power to do? My answers motivated me to help lead the first U.S. women's national team and bring home 2 FIFA Women's World Cup trophies.
Bank of America champions U.S. women's soccer legend Michelle Akers and everyone who dares to ask, what would you like the power to do? Bank of America, proud to be the official bank of U.S. soccer. Bank of America N.A., member FDIC.
When I was researching this, it really did give me the creeps. And I've not had that. I've had it with certain stories and things like that. But this story about this umbrella man, it really creeps me out. Like the old times. I think it's because it reminds me of the smiling man, you know, when he dances around. Yeah. It's a very similar sort of entity.
And the Serbian dancing lady.
Yeah. Those sort of things that don't say anything. And that makes it even scarier.
Yeah.
Because it's just like, what do you want? And you can't really figure it out. Are they good? Are they bad?
Scare you.
Just trying to spook you. Yeah, there's something really uncomfortable about that. And they can never see his face properly.
Yeah.
And that's going to make you wonder, because that's like wearing a mask, isn't it? When we've said about that before. Someone wears a mask, you can't read them properly.
Yeah.
So you don't know what they're thinking. So same thing, isn't it? If you can't see their face, you don't know what their intentions are. And I just find that really, really creepy and disturbing.
Yeah.
What would you do if you met the umbrella man?
It's not raining, is it, mate?
What, would you try and approach him, would you?
Nah.
No?
Well, I don't know. It depends if we're bored or not.
Depends if you've got nothing better to do, I guess.
Yeah, it depends if I'm that bored.
You went up to the abandoned asylum again yesterday, didn't you?
Yeah.
How was it?
Yeah, it was booky.
Was there anything there, though?
I don't know. I got bare videos, but I need to look through them.
What, and see if you picked up anything?
Yeah.
Well, let us know.
We didn't use the ghost app like a few years ago because that like cursed us. That did.
You got really freaked out, you lot, about that, didn't
Yeah.
you? Everybody was getting saged.
Yeah.
That was a few years ago, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Oh, dear, you make me laugh.
Well, that's the end of this episode. I hope you enjoyed and we'll catch up with you again soon.
We will indeed. I will catch up with you on Thursday for the Reddit and listener story episode. And then I'll be back again on Sunday for the After Dark episode. Take care, everyone.
Goodbye.
The Bleacher Report app is your destination for sports. Right now, the NBA's heating up, March Madness is here, and MLB is almost back. Every day there's a new headline, a new highlight, a new moment you've got to see for yourself. That's why I stay locked in with the Bleacher Report app. For me, it's about staying connected to my sports. I can follow the teams I care about, get real-time scores, breaking news, and highlights all in one place. Download the Bleacher Report app today so you never miss a moment.
The stories told on the Whispering Woods are inspired by historical records, witness reports, and local folklore. While every effort is made to research and represent events accurately, some details, names, and locations may differ from official accounts or have been changed out of respect for those involved. These episodes are created for storytelling and entertainment purposes and should not be considered definitive fact or investigative journalism.